What's up, everybody? I'm Charnay, and welcome back to another Pod Chat where I share with you all a few tips, tricks, and a little bit of the behind the scenes that goes into podcasting. This particular episode, I'm going to share with you all how to find an audio engineer. If you are someone looking for someone to mix and master your audio files, someone to edit your podcast, someone to make your podcast sound super high definition, clear, crispy, and professional. There are tons of different platforms out there, so I'm going to share with you all a few of the platforms that I use. Before I share with you all the platforms that I use, as I have been mentioning, I wanted to share with you all a little bit more of the behind the scenes. So I have been doing some sprucing up over on my podcast. I recently updated the intro, so I want to take you all very quickly on what that journey was like and give you all a little peek into that process. So check it out. So here is the fancy studio. This is where some of the magic happens. Jen also makes beats, so we start by finding an audio track, map out what I want to say before I get in the booth, and go over things such as tempo, timing, or anything that I may want to change about the beat before we record the voiceover. Wait, hold on. The chime, that part, can they go first? And I'm saying you're listening to. I can hear you. Oh my goodness, I need to really upgrade my equipment because this sounds so crispy, so clean. Yeah, let's do this. Wait, now I can't hear you. Something. Hey, we making it work. Okay. You're listening to the Not Your Average Culture podcast. Once I'm in the booth, I record and listen to the playback of the audio until we find one that's a hit. We will crack a few jokes. She will give me some advice on tone, pace, or any feedback to make sure everything sounds good and we have a clip that we can work with. Then we circle back to the soundboard where she makes a few additional tweaks and edits, and then I have my finished product. I'll probably share a vlog of how the full studio session went. Let me know in the comment section if that's something you all would be interested in seeing. So that was my very first studio session. I am someone, I like to use all the resources and tools that I actually have available before going out and investing in big fancy equipment that I may not be familiar with. So typically when I record my podcast, it's just me and another guest and we do it over Zoom. I record it inside of my kitchen, and I've shared this on an earlier video. I just used this little microphone, and it's around that time where I should probably start updating some of my equipment, my tools, my process, things of that nature. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all that journey, that process, things that I'm doing to update it. And one of the very first things that I decided to do is update my intro. And now I am on the journey to converting that passion project into a business, seeing if that's something that I can even do. And so I am documenting and sharing that with you all. So I am on the road to building my podcast and also on the road to building my YouTube channel. I'm on the journey to reach 1,000 subscribers. So with that being said, definitely support, like, and subscribe to my channel so that way you can stay updated on how this entire process is going. But that was Jen, one of the audio engineers that I used to help me update my intro. I found her through word of mouth. We both have a mutual acquaintance, so simply hit her up and I said, hey, I need you to help me redo my intro. And we went in the studio and we did our thing. So the next audio engineer that I'm going to share with you all is Latrez, and I actually found him through Fiverr. So I'm going to give you all a peek of what went into this process because I recently just interviewed him, so that way I can hear his story of how he got into sound and audio engineering what I do is I hop on Zoom, I interview a guest, and then after the interview is over, I go back and I listen to the full episode. I record some timestamps, some things that need to be edited and tweaked, and then I also separately I record the intro and outro. So I'm going to quickly show you all that process of recording the intro and outro. All right, you all, so I am inside of a Trello board. This is where I have started to upload and start organizing my podcast information. This is in the column of content that needs to be edited. And so since I recently did an interview with my audio engineer, I went ahead and put my intro here so that way I make sure that I have all my talking points and everything that I want to say listed out so that way I can stay on track. Otherwise, if I don't have some talking points, I will probably be rambling and going off the script and just going on and on and on. And so I like to make sure that I have a few talking points or write down everything that I want to say. And I don't always stick to the script. Sometimes I may ad lib or I may include something in between some of these blocks of text. It just depends on whatever comes top of mind. But I do try to make sure that I make my podcast conversational so that way it flows and it doesn't always sound like I'm reading something. But 9 times out of 10, I do have something written down so that way I can stay on track. And so, like I said, I recently started using Trello to organize these things. Now that I have been doing these pie chat series where I show you all the behind the scenes, it has been helping me get more organized so that way I can show you all how I am doing the thing as I do it. At first, I used to use OneNote. And so you'll see here, this is my entire layout and script for the YouTube video that I am making now. I like to make sure that I have some type of guidelines to go by. So I simply just copy this intro and I put it over here on my Trello board. And then I use QuickTime to record the file. So QuickTime is free on a Mac. And so when I am ready to record the intro and outro, I'll open up QuickTime. I will click down on this arrow button, and usually if my microphone is plugged in, the name will appear here. So right now you're just hearing the audio coming straight through from my laptop. And so if my microphone is plugged in, I will click that and then simply hit record, read everything on the script, and then it'll give me an option to save it. Right now the audio is saved on my desktop over here. And so I use WeTransfer, which is this. I use a paid option with WeTransfer because I'm always sending over large video files or large audio documents for some of my freelance clients that I still have. I just love it for its convenience where I can upload and send files. So when I'm ready to send over the audio engineer, I can simply drag and drop it and it'll upload and then it'll directly share to his email. WeTransfer also keeps a file for all of the content that I have shared with past clients. So that's helpful as well if you want to clear up some desktop space or some drive space. It doesn't keep it for a long amount of time, but just enough so that way if a client accidentally deletes some of the files as you're sending it over to them, you still have a record of it somewhere. So yeah, that is a little bit of how I record my intro and outro. And now I'm going to briefly show you all a clip from our Zoom call. I haven't got to the point where I want to share my podcast on YouTube and video because I'm very particular about the quality and I want it to upload to be super crisp and just as clean as the video that you're currently watching. So I'll show you a very quick clip of our podcast conversation, which I recorded over Zoom. Okay, are you ready for your big debut?
Let's do it. Saturday, I'm up. Trying to enjoy the day.
Well, thank you for agreeing to be on my podcast. Even though you're behind the scenes helping me put everything together and being an engineer, I wanted you to kind of talk about like how you got into audio engineering and what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay. I hope
so now that I've shared with you all 2 of the 3 audio engineers that I've worked with, One, the main audio engineer I found through word of mouth. The second audio engineer I found through Fiverr. And the very first platform that I ever used to find an audio engineer is through SoundBetter. So I will link all those different ways that you could connect to the people that I showed here on this channel. So if you're interested in reaching out to them to have them work on a project for you, you can easily get in contact with them, and also the platforms I mentioned here in the video, so that way you can go on there and you can find whoever you feel will best match your work style. So that's it, everyone. That is my pod chat for today. I really enjoy doing these pod chats because back when I was creating my podcast, I really wish that there was someone out there sharing their process and sharing how they find different tools and resources and things of that nature. So I figured I would document that process here on my channel. So just because I know that this is my way of doing things, I know that that is not the only way to do this process. There's tons of different tools, resources, and workflows out there. So if you have something that you want to share with me, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I will certainly check it out. But that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.